Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review for WWE NXT UK for May 1st, 2019, and this is episode 41. And as we found out in the show, this is going to be the last set of tapings that took place in New York. I kind of figured that was going to be the case anyways, because last time when they did tapings doing like a WrestleMania access, well, last time it was the Royal Rumble access in Phoenix. Um, it was only 3 episodes that took place there, so I figured that it was going to be the same case here. Um, and I gotta say, the crowd definitely was much more lively for this one. I think this is the most the crowd was lively for it, mainly because I think, you know, I think because they knew a lot of people on this show, like they knew who Walter was, they knew who Jordan Devlin was, sort of. They knew who Travis Banks was, it seemed like. And it definitely seemed like that these were more of like the NXT UK fans. Because the last episode, the crowd really wasn't that invested into that episode of NXT UK. But I am happy about that. I think this time around, doing an access was more of a success. Because it seemed like, this time around, um, you got more fans that were actually fans of NXT UK and actually went to watch the tapings versus just going and you know meeting professional wrestlers at Access. Maybe the WWE timed it better where they did the autograph signings first and then they showed the NXT UK tapings. I'm not really sure, but you know, and I believe this one um was taped um after NXT Takeover New York, because this is the first time we actually physically see Walter in a match um, with the WWE United Kingdom Championship. Because I think previously they were doing the tapings like one each day, and obviously they couldn't do the tapings, with Walter in the ring because he hadn't won the championship yet. So there's that. Um, but I think though the commentators, really, they discussed, Walter being the champion. So maybe they did all these tapings the next day. So yeah. Um, but let's talk about this show. We had Nigel McGuinness and Vic Joseph on commentary for this show. It kicked right off with a match. It was Travis Banks versus Mansoor. I think that's how you say his name. I've never seen this guy wrestle before. I believe when WWE went to Saudi Arabia back at the Greatest Royal Rumble, I believe he was signed, but I could be mistaken. But I actually thought this was a pretty good match. I thought Mansoor really proved himself in this match, that he could hang with somebody like Travis Banks, and I thought that was pretty cool. They start off doing chain grappling towards each other, and Travis Banks is dominating early, and Mansoor tries to get the advantage by hanging Travis Banks up in the ropes, but he doesn't quite have he's not quite in the right place, doesn't quite have the right momentum to really get in control, so Travis Banks just hits a wicked kick right to the chest, and then eventually when Travis Banks goes to go off the middle turnbuckle to hit some type of high spot move, Mansoor just pushes him off the turnbuckle, and he gets the heat in the match for a while. I thought that was pretty cool. But then eventually Travis Banks regains control. He hits some really awesome maneuvers. He hits a really cool dropkick, sending Mansoor outside the ring. A really cool suicide dive. A really cool missile dropkick. Um, and he's about to get the win, but Mansour counters into a lifting neck breaker, but doesn't quite get the victory. And then eventually, Mansoor's talking shit to Travis Banks, um, and slapping him and stuff like that, and all that did was just piss Travis Banks off. He hits the um, the springboard spin kick off the turnbuckle, and then he hits the Kiwi Crusher for the win. And that was pretty much that. I thought the match was pretty good. Made sense, obviously, for Travis Banks to go over because they're actually doing stuff with him. And if he lost this match, he would just look like an absolute loser. And I really like that they're rebuilding Travis Banks again. He's had some really good showings in NXT UK matches, and he's starting to kind of get on the women's side of things. So I don't know what this means for Travis Banks. But I liked it. I thought this match itself was pretty good, and I think Mansoor has some potential. I think he could be a decent talent for WWE. Um, and then Zaya Brookside does like a promo at the NXT UK Performance Center, and this actually was like a pretty geeky, awkward promo. but I actually liked it. Zaya Brookside introduces herself, and she's like, "Wait, I gotta introduce myself again." And then when she does, like the nameplate for it shows up, um, and she says, that she really wants to be a professional wrestler. She has had passion for it, and she's really good at it. Even though I didn't have the best of luck against Rhea Ripley in the last match, which I kind of like that she brought that up, and then she has like a thought bubble that says "seriously" with a question mark, which was funny, and then she cuts like the typical baby face promo where she says, "We're gonna, I'm gonna rise from this, and I'm gonna come back even stronger." But it was just done so awkwardly, and then she like acts like she's like flying in a helicopter and makes the noises and stuff, and freaking walks away. It was pretty damn awesome, actually. I gotta say, um, it was a nice awkward promo, and if this is kind of what they want to go for Zaya Brookside, I'm actually a fan of it. I really still want to see her and Candy Floss be a tag team. I think that'd be awesome. Um, and then we had a vignette for a new wrestler that's going to be making his debut fairly soon, probably in NXT UK. It's Ila Dragunov. I think that's how you say his name. It basically shows vignettes, um, you know, um, of him scouting all across the Indies. I don't know though anything about this guy, so I have to wait to kind of and see. But he looks pretty damn sick. I can't wait to see what he does in NXT UK. So there's that. And then Nina Samuels is cutting a promo, and she talks about how she's gonna, bring theater back to professional wrestling. Um, Good luck with that. Aiden English tried that, and he was booked to shit. So you can feel free to try. Um, and she talks about how she's been gaining all these victories, and says that Tony Storm's just a chump champion. And you see her like playing with a rose, and we see that she's just cutting this promo in the mirror. And she says that when she wins the NXT UK Championship, she's going to change the face of the NXT Women's UK Women's Division. Um, I liked it. You could say, what's the difference between this and Mojo Rawley's promos? Well, one, Nina Samuels is actually talented, so that's explains that. And because her gimmicks, like that she's supposed to be in theater, you see a lot of times that actresses and actors will talk to themselves in the mirror sometimes, so it actually fits the gimmick. Um, and I like that she was like picking apart a rose doing this, kind of showing she's like that evil um, UK person. And I also like these better than Mojo Rawley's things, is because they're actually going somewhere. Like the fucking main boss is fucked around with those so much. Um, that we don't even know, we can't get invested in them because we don't know if they're going anywhere with them. So there's that. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what Nina Samuels does. Then we had the next match. It was Piper Niven versus Renee Gonzalez. I thought this was a nice big woman match. Um, they both do the whole thing where they try to hit shoulder tackles on each other, but because they're both so big, it doesn't really work. Um, and then eventually, Piper Niven gets tricked by Renee Gonzalez, and gets clubbed right into the back of the head when she goes for hers, and slammed head first down to the mat. And Renee Gonzalez dominates the matchup for a long while, really targeting the head of Piper Niven. But then Piper Niven mounts a comeback. She hits a senton onto Renee Gonzalez. A schoolgirl sending Renee Gonzalez through the ropes, and then eventually hits a Michinoku driver for the win. And yeah, I liked it. Makes sense for Piper Niven to win because you're trying to build her as a dominant force in NXT UK. But I think Renee Gonzalez has some potential. I could see her doing some stuff in NXT, once the roster kind of fills up for her and stuff. So I thought all of this was a thumbs up. Um, and then Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan are backstage. And they talk about how they were insulted by the grizzled young veterans and other people that didn't think that they had what it took to be a tag team with each other. So I guess that they were insulted by me because that's what originally I was saying when they became a tag team. And they talked about how they've traveled and taken the same roads as the grizzled young veterans to get to NXT UK, and they say that on the next episode, which is the most recent one that just happened this week's, they're gonna go to Glasgow, Kenny Williams' hometown, and they want to wrestle for the NXT UK Tag Team title. So they're going to make the call to Johnny Saint, and we find out Johnny Saint made the match official because he tweeted about it. So that's pretty cool. I'm actually looking forward to that match. I think it would be really good NXT UK Tag Team title match. So there you go. Then Gallus does a promo, and they're not in New York; they're back in the UK, in Glasgow, and they talk about how they've dominated the landscape of NXT UK, no matter where they've been, whether that's in Phoenix, the UK itself, or New York. And they say that now it's time for people to come to us, and we're going to dominate people there. So that's going to be actually fairly interesting. I wonder if that will lead to like an American or like someone from like the NXT or the 205 Live brand coming over to face Gallus. I think that would be pretty interesting. So, yeah, I like Gallus too. I think they're awesome. Then we had the main event. It was Jordan Devlin versus Walter. I really enjoyed this main event. Throughout the beginning portions of this matchup, Jordan Devlin, because Walter's like this big dominant badass. Um, you know, Jordan Devlin's like scared to really face him on, so he tries a strategy where he's just gonna piss Walter off, so that way he'll use up all his energy and try to go after him. But Walter, is able to stay calm, and the strategy really doesn't work out for him, and eventually Walter just catches up to him. He hits a wicked big boot right to the face, but that looked like that knocked Jordan Devlin out. It was pretty damn awesome, and Walter just freaking beats the crap out of this dude. Um, he gets him into a crossface. He like throws him on the outside and goes for like the face buster into the apron. But Jordan Devlin is able to get out of it, and he goes for a kick. While he's on the apron, the penalty kick. But not Jordan Devlin, Walter um catches him and he throws him into the ring. And I think this was a botch because I don't think Jordan Devlin was supposed to get tied up in the ropes. They just but I still think like this was a boss that kind of worked in their favor in a way. So there you go. And then Jordan Devlin kicks the ropes into Walter's nuts, and technically that's not a disqualification because that's technically out of Jordan Devlin's control. So then he starts to work over the leg of Walter. He gets him into a half Boston Crab. Um, but Jordan Devlin, no, not Jordan Devlin. Walter, gets the ropes. And you see that somehow in this match, Walter got busted open like right in the side of his face because you just see blood coming out of his mouth, and it was actually pretty damn cool. Um, and then eventually, Walter hits a senton under Jordan Devlin, and he hits a wicked shot right under Jordan Devlin, and these chops that Walter hits just look brutal when he hits them on people. Like, Jordan Devlin's like, chest got all red from this. It was pretty damn awesome, and Walter takes back control in this match. He goes for the power bomb, but Jordan Devlin counters into a sunset flip. Walter's able to kick out of it. Then Jordan Devlin hits a wicked drop kick to the face, and he goes for his lift up back suplex, um, but he fails the first time. And I think he botched it the second time because I think he was supposed to like catch Walter with it, but they kind of fucked that up a little bit. Um, so they just kind of went with it and just did it. He just did it again, and it was still pretty cool. They was actually able to hit it on a guy like Walter this big. I thought that was awesome. And Jordan Devlin goes for the cover, doesn't get the win, and then eventually Walter hits the power bomb, finally gets the win, and that was that. I thought it was a really good match. I thought this was a nice way to end off the NXT UK tapings in New York because this is what the crowd in New York was into the most. And having that NXT UK title match at Takeover really benefited Walter because when he came out, everybody had a pop for this guy. Everybody loved Walter. And you could say that it's mainly, because it's an NXT crowd, but I think the reaction would have been a little bit different had that match not happened at NXT Takeover New York. So I thought that was a thumbs up. And then the last thing I expected to see on this show is we see Pete Dunne come out, and it's really weird not to see Pete Dunne with the title because he's had that title for so long that it kind of defined him in a way. And he got a pretty decent, he got a really good pop too when he came out because mainly people recognize who he is since he's worked in the States before. And he gets on the mic and tells Walter and demands him to give him a rematch. Which I kind of like this because on the main roster they would have just fucking bullshitted for a while. Here, because of Walter and Pete Dunne's characters, it makes sense that they just want to get right into it, get right to the point. And Walter nods his head yes. So the match isn't official, but I think we know at some point we're gonna get the rematch between Walter and Pete Dunne. I'm excited for that. I know I said before I didn't really want to see it because he kind of did everything in the first match, but I actually think they're gonna, because NXT UK isn't the main roster, they're gonna actually do stuff differently that they did in the second match. In the second match that they didn't in the first match. And it's gonna be pretty damn awesome. And it's gonna be kind of a different story too, seeing Pete Dunne now as the challenger versus Walter the champion, because we haven't seen Pete Dunne be the challenger for the title since he won it back at the first NXT Takeover Chicago event. So that would be pretty damn interesting. And that was basically this episode of NXT UK. I actually thought it was a really good episode. Actually, I'm going to say a great episode. I enjoyed about everything that was on it. I really liked, Travis Banks versus Mansoor. I thought it was a nice showcase for them. I liked that they're building, building up new stars like Zaya Brookside, like Nina Samuels, like Gallus. I like how they set up, a title match for the next episode between the Grizzled Young Veterans and Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan. I like the women's match on this show. And, I like that they're introducing new talent, like Aya Dragunov. Um, and I really like the main event, and they set up the rematch at some point between Walter and Pete Dunne. So I thought this episode was great. I'm gonna give it a B plus. And that's pretty much the end of this review. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. Make sure you guys do the same thing for my Owen the Talkinator and CM Brothers channel, because if you subscribe to the CM Brothers channel right now, if you guys are a fan of Death Note or anime, me and my cousin are going to finish Death Note. He's in Massachusetts at this moment as I speak. And he's going to, we're going to sit down and really finish Death Note, which will be awesome. So thank you guys for watching. Talk to you later.